The Imani Speak Show.
Okay, kings and queens, I have my special guest, and she's here on the line, Juliet.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
How are you? I'm fine. Oh my goodness. Juliet, I'm so honoured to have you on the show, and I know that you've been doing lots of things, and I know that your CV could go on for the next half hour. So please, could you just break down very briefly who you are to our listening audience?
Hi everyone, I'm Juliet, and I work on various causes. I'm an activist, I'm a mom, a writer, and a songwriter, and a project manager, and a committed community worker. That's what I do in a nutshell, in a very brief few words. Yeah.
Oh wow!
And thank you for having me on the show as well. And I am also very honoured to be here speaking with you.
Oh wow! Thank you so much. So Juliet, I know you're. Is there something? I think we should start with what you're doing right now. What you're filming something, aren't you? To go with your music.
Yes.
Can we talk a little bit about that first?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'd love to. We're currently shooting. We've been shooting for 2 days. Yesterday was the main shoot, and that was a music video for a record which I've written with Sean Cassell, which is called the Reparations Anthem. Wow. And that record has really taken off really quickly. We had like 8,520 hits within the first 2 days.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't even 2 full days actually of us putting the record, out to the public. So we received a really, a real sort of rush of interest, which I was happy to receive. And because of that, we said, obviously there's a need for this. And I think in light of what's going on socially, both here and in America, I think that's probably where the interest has been, I don't know what there seems to be an attraction to it, let's just say that. And I also think that there's been a multiplicity of different events happening, including the Reparations March, which is coming up, the annual march on the 1st of August, Reparations March. And there's been a lot of press recently around the issue of reparations, in particular the decisions by Barack Obama to actually discuss it and bring it to the table as an issue, and to look at ways in which America can deal with the issue fairly, and also with what's happened in Illinois recently, which is where they're actually doing a study into how reparations can be dealt with in terms of truth and justice investigation into possibilities of systems for distribution. So there's been a lot around that. Yesterday as well, Germany apologised to Namibia. So although they apparently, according to the Daily Mail, refused to pay reparations, this is something that is very current at this moment in time. So we've written the track, and so yesterday we were at the Docklands Museum in London. We were in the slavery exhibition, and where we were taking photographs and creating a backdrop as well, because the video is almost like a photo album. So it was really intense, and it still is intense. We were doing a lot of cutaways, and it was. I think it was a shock for some people because we were wearing costumes and we were wearing shackles and chains. So it was very visual.
I'd imagine very hard.
So we're hoping to have that ready by the end of this week for public release. And also the record is on VPAL Records, which is VP Records, which is a label really renowned for a lot of reggae artists like Sean Paul and so on. They're supporting this particular record, and it will be available for public release the 29th of July on iTunes and, you know, on all digital media where you can download music from. So, yeah, it's been going really well, and I'm really, you know, happy about the kind of reception that the music has received from the general public. It's really infusing, you know, because to date, I think we're on about 14,000 hits, so I think that's quite good in a short space of time. And I haven't really had much time to promote it as much as I'd like to, and I've done a fair few radio shows just recently because the interest has been that much for the record. In fact, like, they played it multiple times in different stations on Friday, and I wanted to catch, but I couldn't catch them all at one time. But it's really good that we're having a lot of airplay, so I'm just really pleased at the reception that it's got.
Oh, that's fabulous. So, Juliet, were you the person behind, or you took part in creating this? Is this something that had your imprint? Would you, for want of a better word, how did this all come about?
Yeah, very much so, actually. And it was a very strange situation, to be honest with you. I actually was like having a really, I don't know if you've ever had one of those really realistic dreams, almost as though it's totally real. I dreamt I was at a concert, and you know, I was like singing the song at the concert and like saying reparations now, and you know, slamming my fist up in the air, and I was there thousands and thousands of people. And then the gentleman who was on the stage, he did look dissimilar to Arrow, actually, said to me, the man who sang Hot, 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 that you know, was like telling me the lyrics to me, you know, Juliet, why aren't you writing these down? I was like, write these down. Like, I'm fine, I'm sleepy, I want to sleep. And invariably, anyway, I did get up and, you know, I memorised the lyrics, and I wrote them down straight away. And, you know, seemingly to me it was like sort of some kind of poem. But the more I looked at the lyrics, I realised it was an actual anthem. And so I started to share it around, you know, just using social media, and sent it to some artists, and I sent it to one camp actually called Rasta Camp, and they've got a lot of artists, new artists. They seem to be, you know, hitting a lot of new music out there, and it, you know, positive music. So I thought, oh, you know, so I shared it around, and as soon as the person who heads all the production for Rasta Camp heard it, a man called Storm Cassell, he loved it and he said, I want to record it, and this happened like within a week. So I was like, oh, okay then. So he said to me he's signed TV Pal Records, and you know, he can get distribution for it, and he'd love to do it. It'd be an honour to do it, you know, an honour, you know, for all of his ancestors and for all of the heroes and heroes that have, you know, passed us in the past. So he said it's his kind of music. So yeah, he went about recording it, and that's what's happened really. He performed it as well. He didn't even give it to one of his artists. He liked it so much he kept it for himself. And so I wrote it, and he rearranged some of the words, and so I gave him 20% of the writer's credit.
Wow.
And it's a good, I think it's definitely a good anthem, and I think it's fairly catchy.
Juliet, talk to us about the reparations, because there's so much disparity. Some people see it as you know, yes, it's a good thing, it's something that, you know, should happen, and it's what, you know, it's something that would alleviate some of the pain, not all of it, but some of the pain. And then some people have another, you know, idea about it. Can you just give us a breakdown, so, you know, people, just your take on it is probably the best way to go.
Well, firstly, I mean, reparations is something that's important and is done on a regular basis, just to demystify anybody who thinks that, you know, it's some, you know, bigger elephant in the room. It's not. And,
yeah, people have been getting their reparations.
Yeah, a lot of people have court cases and get reparations. It's, you know, in fact, I remember reading an article about an Australian woman who won a case and got reparations. So, you know, she was apparently, you know, wrongly accused of something. So people do get reparations. It's, you know, it's basically to right an injustice. So there's nothing really challenging about that concept. And the thing is that reparations in this country was paid to the tune of what would probably be now about £40 billion to the slave owners. So this country isn't adverse to paying reparations. It just depends on who they're paying reparations to. And that is where the situation becomes quite challenging, because you've got to ask yourself, why are they so adverse? Is it the financial implications, or is it just downright discrimination? And I think it's a culmination of both, because some people see reparations only in monetary terms.
That's right,
but it's not actually just a situation of monetary terms. In fact, Professor Chimwesu, who wrote extensively about reparations, said that the monetary aspect is only actually about 1% of what reparations is about. And I think people need to understand the kind of 5 pillars of reparations before they kind of step away from it. And rather actually should be attracted to it, because an injustice anywhere, to anyone, is an injustice for everyone everywhere.
For sure.
So it's something that we need to, really embrace as a people, I think. And the pillars are important, because you see, non-repetition and guarantees of non-repetition is very important, because especially in the backdrop of what's been happening all over the world, and even here in Liverpool recently, where there is a lot of situations happening in this country where black people, people of African descent, people of the diaspora, and people from South Pacific, and all over the world, melanated people of all over the world of African descent, feel as though they are treated unfairly. And so non-repetition would mean that this doesn't happen anymore. So to put reparations into context, it's not just looking at what's happened in the past. You see, what's happened in the past has impacts on now. So the pain that we suffered then still has impacts on us now. So say, for example, for me personally, for example, I don't speak a language, an African language. I don't know one. When I was at the Slavery Museum, there was something very interesting that I saw there, which was a board. It's a huge display across the wall, and it shows the ship, it shows the captain of the ship, it shows the slave owners, it shows the tonnage, which was us, by the way. It shows the port in which the ship disembarked, and then it shows the destination, and all the Caribbean islands. And this was just one small element. It was like from 1744, and there were so many. It was, some of the crew of the acting actors were actually crying.
I can imagine.
That's how deeply they were affected by it. And even for me, I must admit, it was heart-wrenching to see, because it does bring it to reality, and it makes you realise why you're here and why you don't know who your real family is, who your real heritage is, what your real language is, what your real custom is, what your real traditions are, what your real religion is. You've got no clue, because of course you've been divorced from that. You've got no legacy, you've got no land, you've got no cultural heritage that you can really call your own without it being tainted by slavery. And that brings me to restitution or repatriation. There should be a situation where people who choose to go back should have that, because people that are displaced by any kind of war or terrorist attack have that option, and so we should also have that option. Also, there's satisfaction. There has to be satisfaction in place. I mean, these are just 5 of the pillars attached to reparations. Satisfaction needs to be in place so that people are satisfied with the outcome and are involved in the process.
Indeed.
And that is really empirical to what's happening. Also restoration and rehabilitation. We need rehabilitation. I mean, post-traumatic slavery syndrome is a real concept.
I was just about to ask you, what's your thoughts on that? Because, like so many people say things like, oh, well, that was 200 years ago, 300 years ago. how can that be affecting? No one alive today was in was enslaved, but they forget that, whose DNA are we carrying through? We are those people that were enslaved, but they're offspring. They're descendants.
I mean, it's not only that. Where do your family come from?
Well, that's the thing. What's been said is people could be marrying and having children with their own family relatives because nobody knows who's who.
Exactly. And further to say, the legacy of slavery still lives today.
Of course.
And it's not benefiting the enslaved. It's still benefiting the slave owners. It's still benefiting their legacy. It's still being passed down generation to generation to generation to their family. The industries that benefited and created the establishment of London and Liverpool and the bank is still flourishing today. So this is the ongoing legacy of the abhorrent trafficking of human beings illegally, and kidnapping and genociding and land grabbing of indigenous lands and indigenous peoples. So to look at it just in a current context, it's still going on. It's still going on in West Papua.
Yes.
Today.
Can you talk on that? Because I was telling somebody about, and they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that this is going on as we speak in the 21st century.
Yeah, it's actually really shocking, and I am very much an avid supporter. As I said, I'm very much a revolutionist and activist in terms of West Papua, and I will, fight until they are free, because I've never seen such abhorrent terrorism in this lifetime for me, as I have seen what's going on in West Papua, and it is graphic. And I know people hate to see, graphic images of people suffering, but it is the most horrific genocide I've ever seen. And I'll give you an example. The tactics are so vile that recently, West Papua fighting for the right to self-determination, they were illegally invaded by Indonesia 56 years ago, and what happened was that they should have had their right to self-determination when they were given independence from the Dutch, because they were a former Dutch colony. And as we know, you see, what's happening in West Papua is geographically based just over 250 kilometres off of the Australian coast. And they are Melanesians.
Right.
Yeah, as in i.e. the Black Islands like Vanuatu, Solomon Islands. There are various islands. I can't pronounce some of the names, but Molucca. There's Colonia, New Guinea Colonia. There are various islands all in that area, and they are Black Islands, and they originate from Africa. And in the same way that the Aborigines did as well, and they are also of African descent. But they were the first. They were said to be the first to migrate from Africa over 50,000 years ago. UN say 42,000, but that's in the mix. So they left Africa 50,000 years ago and settled in West Papua, and have lived a natural life since settling there. And it was just like one day Benny said that he was going to the gardens with his mother, and then the next thing he knew there were armed guards with guns. Like, what's going on? He didn't expect any of this. They were just living a natural life, and the next thing they knew, they were getting bombed and shot, and he had to unfortunately experience watching his two aunties get raped, and they later died from their injuries. His little niece was slammed onto the floor, 2-year-old niece, until her back was broken, her neck was broken, and she later died. He started to see all these abhorrent things happening, and the thing is, it's still happening today. Just 3 days ago, 38 children were arrested.
38 children arrested?
Children, and the youngest child that was arrested was 10 months old.
What? Oh my
10
God.
months old.
You know, why is this not being, you know, why is this not on the front pages and really sort of put out there for people to see?
One gift.
Well, but I mean, it's disgusting, isn't it?
I'll tell you why, because gold, they have the largest gold mine in the world. They also have copper mines. It's one of the world's most resource-rich places in the world. It's about twice the size of France, and it has gold, it has natural liquid gas, it has oil, it has timber, it has copper, it has silver, it has cobalt, it has nickel. So, you know, companies like BP at the moment who have just expanded their operations while they know there is genocide happening in West Papua. They're very much aware of the human rights abuses. They're very much aware of the fact that, you know, outside press hasn't been allowed to report freely in West Papua for 56 years. They're very much aware of the fact that NGOs and human rights organisations are banned from West Papua. They're very much aware of the genocide and the torture and illegal imprisonment of any protesters. They're aware of the fact that the Act of No Choice was a sham, and that, you know, Indonesia gained control over West Papua in an illegal takeover, and that they do not have sovereignty. They're aware, the UN are aware. In fact, the UN just recently, just under 3 weeks ago, the Solomon Islands and Vatua were actually in the UN, and you know, told them and appealed to them to do something about the human rights abuses going on in West Papua. So the UN are also knowledgeable, but you know, you've got to look at America has these mines, Rio Tinto, Australia, Canada, UK, Japan, China. They've all got their hands, you see, in the wealth of West Papua, so they have an interest. So that's why you don't see it on the news, because they have a vested interest in order to keep it silent. And Australia, which really ought to be ashamed of itself, is actually funding the genocide and also training the soldiers, the Indonesian soldiers, to commit more genocide.
No way. Oh my God.
So, you know, I personally boycott all Australian products. I boycott all Indonesian products. And I drive past every BP, will never fill up there as long as I live. Even if I run out of petrol, I'd rather walk.
Wow. Honestly, this is... And I know a lot of people are not aware of this, because it's not, you know, it's not being reported out there in, you know, globally as it should be. And as you say, because greedy hands want to get their hands on the goods, you know, on the precious metals and what have you that's there. What can people do, Julia? What can people do to...
Well, there's lots. I mean, like myself, you can write to your local MP and raise the issue. The resources are all on their website. It's really easy. They have a resource page on their website, which is www.freewestpapua.org, or even on Facebook, you can go through the Facebook page, which is the Free West Papua campaign, or even Google Benny Wenda. You'll see lots of articles, because the few papers that we have had coverage from have been the Guardian and the Huffington Post. The Guardian's been very supportive.
Okay, the Guardian and the Huffington.
And also the Voice newspaper had an article on him last year. We're hoping that they follow that up this year, because Benny will actually be addressing the audience this year at the Reparations March. He'll be delivering a very powerful speech for the first time at the Reparations March.
About what's been going on there.
Yeah, absolutely, because reparations is about internal and external repair. And what's been going on in West Papua is serious and deserving of both internal and external repair. and also to galvanise support for the campaign, so a lot of people know about it. So I would say on average, I don't know the exact number, but I think, for the last 2 years on the march, there's been over 18,000, people marching. And the numbers are growing, and I think I've been very much involved in the outreach this year. And when I've been outreaching, I've been promoting both West Papua and Reparations, because
So,
you see, to me, they go hand in hand.
For
because
sure.
Reparation is and Stop the Maungamizi, which is really important. Stop the Maungamizi, which supports the petition, which is to stop the genocide, ecocide, stop the Maungamizi, which is going on in our community. And so it's really, really important that we have that. So we've been appealing for funds to raise awareness about the harm suffered by the black community, and that's what Reparations is really about. It's about repairing the harm, and nobody can't say that. I don't know anybody that could say that they haven't been aware of any harm that's happened to the community or our community, whether it's been high unemployment of black youth, or whether it's been, overpopulation of the prisons, and, overrepresentation in criminal justice, overpopulation in mental health institutions, underperformance within schools, or even being targeted within schools, being targeted at work indiscriminately, having, to face unfair employment situations, and also having to go to court, or not having enough money to take it to tribunal. There are so many different things. It's so multiplicity. It's multiplicitous in the sense that it's not sometimes one, it's just a number of things. When, for example, the new Prime Minister was, everybody watched as she brought in her new cabinet members, and there's like, we all knew there was going to be no black person there. And the only thing she did say about in her opening speech about black people, it was a reference to crime.
Well,
so these
there you go. Well, that was her background, wasn't it? She was dealing with black people, but not in a very good ways, from what I understand.
Exactly, but there were black judges. Why didn't she talk about the lack of black people in politics, or black people in I don't know, Parliament? Let's just say that's her arena, isn't it?
Exactly. But, Juliet, do you feel as though we've gone back in some way? It seems as though people have been dumbed down. Lots of things have been orchestrated to keep things from the people, and it's almost as though when we can watch live someone getting shot, and it's it's kind of it becomes part of you sort of mealtime viewing. What's your thoughts?
Well, firstly, I think technology has a lot to play. I don't think we've gone backwards at all.
Okay.
I disagree, in fact, because I think if we didn't have this technology, and I mean, unfortunately, this technology comes at a cost, especially at what's going on in the Congo right now.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not upgrading my phone, because I know what's going on there, and I know where it comes from, the raw materials come from, and what it's doing to the people there. And so I personally boycott and not getting a phone in order to save a life in the Congo, where over 6 million people have died, as a result of corporate interest. So with regard to that, I think technology has played a part. So I don't think we've actually gone backwards. I think we're actually moving forward. But I think that it's been portrayed in the media as though we're going backwards.
Yeah.
And yes, in terms of what you call mealtime viewing, what I would say is that, years ago they used to hang and strung and quarter. Look at, Nat Turner. They had an audience when they hung and quartered him. What's new?
So it's not that we've gone back. It's just same old. Yeah.
people have just become so apathetic, and that's not a negative thing, because when you become apathetic, sometimes you need a wake-up call. So, Dr. Frances Cress-Welsing, just at her funeral said something, something that kind of had impacted me. And she said that, some people have got so comfortable, sitting with discrimination and racism at their table that, they invite it in for dinner and they don't ask it to leave.
Wow.
Yeah, and I listened to her and I thought, wow. What she said is quite profound, and it is actually quite true. And the thing is that on many levels there are issues that affect us, and it has knock-on issues to us having issues in our own community. So I don't think we're going backwards. What I think is happening is that we're making multiplicity of moves, some forward, some sideways, and sometimes in some ways backwards. But I think what's happening is that people are actually becoming more educated about themselves, they're becoming more educated about their culture, they're waking up to, hang on a minute, I never felt at home here, why is that? Why do I have to tick a box when nobody else has to? And why is it they've got no boxes and I've got like 3 or 4 to choose from? So people are beginning to ask questions, and I used to work quite extensively in HR, and one of the areas that I work with a Working Action Group, which is a community based organisation. And one of their projects is an unconscious and conscious bias program, and that is so interesting. And it looks at, the decision-making process and what happens before you actually make that conscious decision. And, or some people also use implicit bias tests. And what that has actually shown, is just how deep white supremacy is. And I say white supremacy because that's the way that Lincoln said it, and various other policymakers in America, and in fact some English law lords have said the same thing, and it's in Stroud's law. It's a known concept, and Dr. Frances Cress-Welsing spoke extensively about it as well as Neely Fuller. It is a concept, but it does go to show, and I've actually witnessed it myself, and it's very, very interesting. And that's something that I don't think was at all available before. So in that way, we've gone forward. We've found ways and tools to establish and look at how we can seek a solution to create change and have impact, for use neuro-linguistic programming and other things to have impact. And also the speed at which information is now gathered, is available to us and should be used. And not only that, but you can travel to Africa and see what it's really like. So you no longer have to sit there and believe about the flies and the children with the big bellies, and the disease, and the 4 Ds that they love to talk about with Africa, destruction, disease, history. And go there yourself and see, what a wonderful and amazing and beautiful place it is, and actually how advanced it really is, So I think, I think that has changed also for us, and I do see a lot of progress and progression in the future.
And that's amazing that you said it, because a lot of the time when we have these sort of conversations, it tends to, kind of go down into a slump, and people are feeling, left feeling maybe what's going to happen, what's going to become of us. But, I'm so glad to hear you say you feel that we are moving forward and that it's going to improve over time.
Oh, I think so. I mean, reparations is about, political and legal reform. And there are so many different movements, because the march is not the movement. Just to let people know, the march is the march and the movement is the movement. So, and within the movement you have lots of different organisations, ISHMAR, INAP, GAP,
which is a good thing.
So many, PACM. There are lots and lots and lots of organisations that make up the movement. Working Action Group is within that. There are so many to mention, and we're all making forward
Juliet,
steps.
is there an umbrella that covers, an umbrella sort of website or something that covers all these so people can go there? Are they all under one umbrella website, or,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the main website that I would guide people to is to Stop Them at Ungamisi, because that is the protocol for everything, and that's easily found. And Ungamisi, just to explain what that word is before I spell it.
Yeah, please. Please spell it.
It's a Swahili word. Yeah. And I need to kind of break down about Holocaust as well a little bit. So it is basically, it means the Black Holocaust, of the genocide, the ongoing, the continuation of harm. That's what that word means.
Right.
And a lot of people, when they think about, genocide, they think, genocide's, just a one-off mass killing. It's not. Yeah. It's broken into different contexts, because genocide is also about deliberate killing of someone's nation or a particular group, and it also looks at, it can be your destruction of your lifestyle, destruction of your kind of identification, your language, colonialism, basically. So it does include the act of death and destruction. And so that's where the Mangamisi comes from. It also incorporates genocide. And, you say, but that's a mouthful. But once you understand what it means, you will understand it, and it becomes then easy to spell, because it's Ma'angamisi. And Akala wrote a brilliant track called the Ma'angamisi, and that kind of shows it definitively. So I would tell anybody to go and go onto YouTube and watch Akala's Ma'angamisi. It gives you a really good insight into the word, the term, in a really entertaining way, not comical, but entertaining in the sense that it's a good track. And so that's where Ma'angamisi comes from. So it's stopthema'angamisi.com, and Ma'angamisi, so it's stop, S-T-O-P, and then it's MAANGAMIZI.com.
Fabulous.
So it's stopthema'angamisi.com, and that is, that is where you get all the information, all the numbers. You can, get through to any of the organisations, because the march is made up, the march committee is made up of various organisations.
Right.
So everybody comes from a different organisation. So and they come together, and there's protocol in place to make sure that there's clear lines of communication and consensus in terms of any decisions that have to be made. So it's very impressive, actually, incredibly impressive. And Esther Stanford Jose, has in particular written. She is a scholar, as many people know. She is the #1 reparationist expert in the world, in fact, that we have on our doorstep right here. And she is also a scholar, and she was a barrister. And she is an excellent spokesperson for reparations. She is absolutely amazing. And in fact, she came to our organisation, and she gave a masterclass to Working Action Group. We used to meeting Leo Mohammed's office in Wembley, and the meeting was packed. I think it was about 36 people at the meeting. We don't usually have such a full turnout, and she gave a masterclass, and it was really good. It was such a good class, and it gave us a deeper insight. I know she'll be rolling these out as the year progresses, so I always tell everybody to get onto took the Maangamizi, which is spelled MAANGAMIZI.com, and learn about reparations. It is a truly, really interesting subject, and I learned so much in that short space of time that I didn't understand.
Juliet,
so I would say that for anybody who is against reparations or is even indecisive about it, I would say go and get some education about it, because I think that you learn a lot from what it actually is about, and then you realise how it really does affect you, and it was real eye-opener for me. So I would definitely suggest that you do that, because it also allows you to have an insight into the political structure and also the legal structure, and the reason why they want, we need, I should say, and why we must demand a truth investigation, a parliamentary truth investigation via Parliament, which is why the petition is important. So, you can also get to sign the change.org petition on that website as well, and you can also donate to the GoFundMe campaign, which is for the march, because there are lots of things needed for a march, and you do need to support the march by supporting the GoFundMe, and you can find that also on there. If not, you can go to GoFundMe and put the March UK, and you can fund it from there. You can give a donation from there. I've donated, and it's money well spent.
Wow. No, I think just having you explain it all, because so many people you hear talking about it, but you've really broken it down so well for us, and explained that all the different groups, and that will be available to people, and being able to donate and understand what reparations is really all about. I think that's fabulous.
Thank you.
And and it's definitely, as you said, it definitely feels with everything that you've said there, that we definitely have moved forward. We've got somewhere to go. We've got people in place, and we really just need to join forces and bring the numbers in, and really go for it, because as you're saying, what's happening in West Papua, it's like hearing that, it's showing that evil that was there, in slavery back in the 16th century is still here, because they're doing the same sort of thing. So I just feel, I'm just listening, and I'm like, I'm just coming quite emotional about it, to know that this is going on, and nobody can report on it, no one can do anything, because certain countries are benefiting from it and are allowing it. And we're talking about civilization.
Yeah, these are our indigenous peoples. These are people that are proud of their culture, proud
untouched.
of their language, proud of their spirituality. They are proud to be West Papuans, and most of all, they are proud to be Africans, and very proud to be black. They are incredibly proud, and it's really weird, because one of the words for in Indonesian, I've been learning a bit of Indonesian in order to communicate to people in West Papua and Papua New Guinea, and is orangutan, which sounds like orangutan, which is what they actually call the West Papuans monkeys, and it's just, and I don't mean just call them monkeys, and it's not funny. It's not funny. I know it sounds like, are you serious, Juliet? And I mean it. It's not funny. They do like to do that, and they put ropes around their necks. Excuse me. They put ropes around their necks and whip them like monkeys. I've never seen anything so abhorrent in my whole life.
It's disgraceful.
And painful. I cried and I cried and I cried. I cried so much. I mean, what they do. I mean, they locked some students in their dormitory so they couldn't join the rally, and they starved them. They starved them for days. They couldn't go, and they could not leave. And one student tried to escape, and then the police went after him and shot him. because he wanted to get food. He was hungry.
This is just, it's just too much, really, isn't it? Like,
But
honestly.
this happened 2 days ago. I got the report yesterday.
How are the people reporting? I mean, what danger are they in to get this out?
Severe danger. I mean, the person who gets me this information is risking his life day in and day out just to get me this information.
And that, you know, as you talk about it, that's what it's going to take, isn't it? It's going to take people being willing to risk their lives to change this situation.
Well, he definitely is. I mean, there's no question of a doubt. He had to go into the jungle for a while because they had like set up camp in his house, and they don't live in, you know, houses like we live in. Their lifestyle is very, very basic.
Julie, can you carry on talking? I've just got to let my boss in. Just carry on talking.
Sure.
Yeah.
Their lifestyle is very, very basic, and they live off the land. And this is where the problem lies, is because the genocide that's happening there is also combined with terrible, terrible ecocide because of the mining. The mining has caused poisoning and pollution within their water supplies and within their whole ecosystem. Not only that, the government has tried to plant a lot of palm oil. So they've lost a lot of their natural sago, which is the staple of their diet, one of the staple foods in their diet. And they started to inject the pig as well, which is also a national food for them, the wild boar. And so it's been very, very hard for them. They've also had forced sterilisation. Women don't want to have children because often enough the military kill them, and I literally mean kill children. I've got images that would, you just put your food for life, and children which unfortunately have been, cut like a carcass from the top of their neck down to the bottom of their stomach.
No.
Awful. But I mean it. I honestly do. I have this. And I have footage, and there are freedom fighters, who risk their life every day in order to retaliate for the atrocities that are happening. And the Indonesian government is going out there and saying that, this isn't happening and trying to paint this great picture. But the Melanesian Spearhead Group have demanded that they sit down and speak to them about what's going on with them, but they have refused. The Pacific Island focus group, PIF, have done so, and this has not happened. And also, I think the Pacific Island Congress as well. So the fact is that they are not compliant, but they have been given status within the Melanesian Spearhead Group, which has not been given to the West Papuans United Liberation Movement for West Papua, of which Benny Wender, who I'd love for you to have on your show one day, is the international spokesman for. Yeah. He was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. He is the most wonderful, most humble, most peaceful person you've ever met, and this person has been through so much. He's been through torture. He has been imprisoned. He escaped prison. That's how he's even here in this country.
Wow.
He, has been fighting for his people. And in May, it was a very historic event happened. In May, there was the international parliamentarians for West Papua had a meeting with the international lawyers for West Papua. And in fact, Jeremy Corbyn came to the meeting. And this is why I say I'm not very political in the sense of going to get involved in party politics. But Jeremy Corbyn supported West Papua, and Jeremy Corbyn supported reparations, and was even on the march. So I would say to people, to be mindful and to use the strategy, with their vote when they have one. Because we have to support people that seemingly, regardless if they're like this and they get to the power and they change,
Yeah,
seemingly
yes,
are supporting,
aligning with us, yeah.
yeah, things that support us. Because even on the day of Brexit, he has on a West Papua t-shirt underneath his shirt, a free West Papua t-shirt. So, you know, what I'm saying is that, you know, I'm not trying to persuade anybody with anything. I'm just saying that Jeremy Corbyn was at that meeting on May the 3rd, and he, you know, made a very strong statement about the genocide in West Papua, and he did say that, you know, if he does come to power, that he will ensure that he pushes for the investigations that need to be done, and also for them to have the right to self-determination and the right to have a vote, which they should have. And the UN, unfortunately, you know, it should be acting as an independent body, but it seems as though from the start it has been leaned upon by the US, and is still being leaned upon by their funders, the US.
Wow. I mean, I'm just, honestly, I'm speechless. I normally have so much to say, but honestly, it's awful. It's really disgraceful, isn't it, that this is happening?
500,000 people over. We can't even count it as so many. We just know it's more than 500,000. Because the church did a count, and they said it was 800,000 West Papuans that have been killed. There have been massacres, like the big massacre, which was the anniversary of on the 6th of July this year, which is where they just indiscriminately just fired, sent people down to the end of the dock and just instantly fired on women, children, men, everybody. And they do this, and they do it without, you know, they do it implicitly. They do it without any kind of recall, because the world is standing by while this is happening. This is East Timor times 10,000. The Indonesians do it in East Timor, and they're doing it again. And, you know, the world's media are turning a blind eye to it. And as far as I'm concerned, they're just as, you know, they're just as bad as the people that are doing it themselves, because they're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
But in saying that, there is one journalist, one lone rogue journalist by the name of Danny Vincent, who works for the BBC.
And he's...
yes, who I have been talking to with regard to trying to do something to make a programme or something about it. So, and he has interviewed Benny, and he has taken an interest in it. So I do hope that, you know, we're able to have freedom for West Papua. And West Papuans are fighters. They are total fighters. If we had that fight, if we had just an ounce of their fighting
spirit, yes, yeah.
You know, they are real fighters. On one day, you know, they had protests, and when I say protests, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of people, you know, in 8 locations simultaneously. And this is them saying they want their land back. They want these people out. But what Indonesia is doing is they're doing transmigration, and so they're using transmigration as a way of bringing criminals and people across to outpopulate the native people who are the West Papuans. So they've been doing thousands and thousands of Indonesians from all over Indonesia and shipping them into West Papua and resettling them and giving them the best land. So they're taking away West Papuans' land and giving them their land. They don't employ West Papuans, so it's Indonesians who are getting employed, because of course they're in control. And even when it comes down to even a market stand, West Papuan is sitting on the floor while the Indonesian person has a stand. The apartheid there is, oh my God, the apartheid is so bad, so bad. People always associate apartheid with South Africa.
That's right.
But it's not just happening in South Africa. In West Papua, they can't, you think, they say, you can't go and drink across the road. They can't even cross the road. That's how bad the apartheid is in West Papua. They have police checks like every kilometre. In fact, Freddie Wender, who is one of Benny's relatives, was killed last year, and we did do a global day of mourning where we commemorated his life. And we had a protest outside of Rio Tinto and BP on the 30th of October. But they kill people at the checkpoints. He said his name was Wenda. That was enough. Bam.
Dead. Yeah.
And that they just kill indiscriminately, for no reason, absolutely no reason. They imprison people for no reason. They, terrorize them in the street. They hang, they slaughter, they poison. There's no bounds to their cruelty. Their wickedness knows no bounds. I've never seen a genocide like it. And I don't know how this, global, where information is spreading like wildfire, why the world's media remains silent?
That's the thing. I'm
because who owns it? Murdoch. And where is Murdoch? In Australia. Who's funding it? Australia.
Oh.
So they're not going to do anything when they're actually training them and arming them. So, if one of the world's media moguls is actually there and benefiting from it, why
it's not in his interest to
exactly
do anything to stop it.
They basically, I keep saying to people that what's going on in America, it's nothing compared to what's happening in West Papua. I'm not just deriding anyone's life or devaluing, because all of our lives, our lives are so valuable and precious. However, their lives are being lost at a rate of velocity that they will become extinct. They'll become no more people. At the rate that the genocide is happening, they will not exist. You won't even hear of a West Papuan in the future if this continues, because they are a very small population. They originally was like 2 million, but now they're just, not very many, because they've been killed. I mean, they've been bombed, they had their villages burnt down, they've been poisoned, slaughtered, cut to bits, chopped up, and I mean it. I mean, I've never seen such terrible, it reminded me of Rwanda and, the terrible things that happened then. And, slavery, it's just terrible. And we've got to wake up and do something about it. And I want everybody, to look at Free West Papua and really get involved in it. Because I know, like we say, we close the door and see and get on with our life. Feel like we didn't hear it. But, and that's easy for us to, close our lives and television and live this, make believe life. But in reality, sometimes we have to open our eyes and see what's really happening and, take a part, get involved and, try and help save a life, rather than just be contented with your own.
Well, it's like Bob Marley said, isn't it? If this life is just for me, I don't want to, your life does not belong just to you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so much, it's about, helping others and, and, you're obviously, all this information that you've brought to us is, you've obviously started in your corner making a difference. How can people get in touch with you, Julia?
They can email me at info at Working Action Group, and that's working as in, working, WORKING, action as in ACTION,
and just a bit of noise there.
GRUP, yeah, and you can email me at that.com or .org.
Yeah, I mean, that's it was it's so much there, and I just feel so emotional. I mean, you must have cried so many times dealing with this and seeing all the images.
I do. In fact, if people want to see Benny, he's going to be at the March on August the 1st, but in order to talk to him one-to-one, we're having a launch on the 27th of August, and we do have a select number of VIP tickets if anybody would be interested that you could give away on your show.
Yeah, can you give me give details? What would they what do you want to do? Do you want people to write
Yeah,
in?
you can have a competition if you'd like. I'm offering you 2 tickets for your readers.
That is
for your listeners, sorry. You know what I'm
you know what? I'm sitting there going, yes. You know what it is?
I know you're writing the book. That's why I know you're writing a chapter in the book.
Yes, we're going to talk about that as well. Have you got time? Because I know you were supposed to be on for an hour, but obviously so much. So have you got time to talk about the book?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So okay, so shall we go there? So Juliet, after telling us so much, and we're definitely feeling it. In fact, what I think, do you mind if we play a song just to?
Oh yes, yeah, please, I'd love that.
I think we're going to play some music. I'm going to play "The Effects of Slavery" by Maccabee. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay. Right, here goes, everybody. Effects of Slavery by Maccabee. When we return, the wonderful, beautiful Juliet is going to talk to us about a book that she's involved in, and all about love.
500 years living in the diaspora. More than 500 years. 500 years we sit down by the rivers of Babylon. My people, 500 years under oppression with no solution. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. 500 years of slavery. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Of which all are we is the legacy. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Pretend you don't know me, act as if you don't see. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. This case ain't closed, tell me how do you plead? Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Guilty of crimes against humanity. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Lost my heritage, lost my sanity. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. The government need to apologize to repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Look like you wanna get away scot-free. Repatriation, no. Reparation, when I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. West Papa genocide is a crime by design. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Stop the amalgamation, this petition you must sign. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Help me to free me, my oppressor refuse to see me. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Nothing no change, you still wanna deceive me. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. It wasn't my fault, so why you wanna blame? Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Deny your history and try to share. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. It's high time you pay me so I can repay. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Go to the mint and print and stop being a skin. Repatriation, no. Reparation, when I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Yes, my people. Remember the West Indies. Remember Shark Island. Remember Brazil, Africa, USA. Remember Australia, West Papua and Flint. Remember all the fallen and the innocent souls and spirits of our ancestors. All the sheroes and heroes. Benny Wender, Mark Smiley, Stephen Lawrence Gray, Trevon, Sarah Reid, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, Harriet Tubman, John F. Stark. Slave masters got paid out and we got left out. Big up to our organization, and remember, every August 1st, African Emancipation Day, Reparations March, London. African Emancipation Day, Reparation March, London. Every August. Repatriation, no! Nay, Rastafari.
Wow. Juliet, are you there?
Good track.
Yeah, thought it was quite poignant after what we've been talking about. Right, just to let everyone know, I'm speaking to Juliet, who is an author, a singer, an actress, and an activist. And she's here with us today talking about many different things. We've covered so much in an hour, and now we're going to talk about love and relationship. Juliet, tell us your take on what makes a successful relationship. And before we go there, talk about the book that you're going to be co-authoring.
Well, I'm writing a chapter for co-authoring. I'm going to be modest, but I'm just writing a little chapter. And the book is about relationships, black relationships, and it's a collection of different works by different authors. And it's like a compilation, actually, within the book, which gives different lessons and advice in, all of the aspects of love. It's really important. And the element that I'm actually working on currently, and I started working on, is how to keep the love alive, how to keep that fire burning. Because I think it's really, really important. And I wouldn't say I'm, brilliant at relationships or anything. I'm writing from experience and also from interviewing lots and lots of people, and met several people who have been in very long-term relationships, have never been broken up. The longest one I had was, I think, nearly 60 years, and that was amazing. And I asked him, what's the magic behind your relationship with your wife? He said, I learned to shut up a long time ago.
That's a good one. Oh my gosh. Oh.
So, that was quite comical. But really, I mean, I'm just going to be writing about giving some very practical advice, like, don't sleep on an argument. Don't wake up on an argument. And try and diffuse an argument before it becomes, an incendiary device. So, and also just looking at identifying problems before, they build. So sometimes you realise you haven't spoken for a while, it might be good to start a conversation. Because it's communication ultimately that breaks down, and sometimes there are financial problems. There can be a myriad of different things that, if you like, are the signs, the indicators that you're going to have issues, or there are underlying issues. Or, sometimes it's, incompatibility in certain areas because one person's grown in one way and in another way. So how do you match those discrepancies, because you still love the person? So, for example, I had one of the people that I spoke to had a relationship, but they had gone to university and changed to met different people, and just their lifestyle changed, and their husband felt as though they'd changed and they weren't the same person anymore, and lots of things like that. So it's about how do you manage change within your relationship and keep that equilibrium. So that's really the approach I've taken it from, and good things to do, for your husband, like occasionally cooking, or having that quality time together, go out on dates. Still go out on dates, even if you're still married. You know, at least once a month
Dates,
have a date night and a pamper night. And, you know, socialise and do things that you both like. Find something that you can do together at least, you know, once a month. And it builds up until, you know, you realise that you're actually doing quite a lot of stuff together, and the fun and the joys come back again, and, you know, all is really great. And for those women that, you know, abandon sexiness, you know, after they've got married, and also got a little bit about making sure you know, even though you have children, you've put on a bit of weight, you've got cellulite cities, you know what I mean, you can still be sexy. Because it's in your mind, you know, because you can still be attractive. And I think of, you know, black women, from a black woman's perspective, you know, sometimes we go through a hard time. And I think at work,
and that's what I want to ask you.
So we need that really. Sorry,
Juliet, that's what I want to ask you. Because the book is aligned towards black relationships, do you feel that black relationships have particular problems?
Oh yeah, I mean, without doubt.
Can you outline a few of them as you see it to be?
Yeah, racism. Racism affects our relationships terribly. And I say that because when, for example, you know, you spend something like 60% of your working time, you know, your life at work, and the other 40% is sleeping, something like that. So, you know, in between that time, really, what time do you have? And when you're at work, if you're facing racial discrimination at work, which happens to a lot of us, regardless of whether we want to accept it or believe it, or think that, oh, you know, no, it's all right, it's, you know, they're just doing it because, you know, they're not having a good day today. But, you know, invariably, sometimes, especially what I've witnessed and personally experienced, that, you know, black women and men both go through discrimination and have problems, because you're 10 times more likely to be called into the office. You're, you know, 15 times more likely to face some kind of disciplinary action. So I think that is, and it puts pressure on you. Plus, you think as a black person, you have to overperform everybody, you know, and you don't want to take time off even when you're sick, because you're afraid you might lose your job. You watch your counterparts having a laissez-faire kind of, you know, real laid-back attitude towards work and getting away with everything. So you have frustrations. You have these inbuilt frustrations, plus then you lose the job, but then you can't find another job, and then you've got financial problems.
So money can be a big factor.
Exactly. So you know, it all becomes, you know, very tense. And you know, also black men are in demand by every race. So you know, the temptation is also there, which is a different. I can honestly say that, you know, if we were to put black men on the stock market, they'd be like the number one commodity.
The number one.
Honestly, I mean it. You know, I've just noticed that, you know, when you have a black man, particularly one who's successful or financially stable or independent, or, you know, I don't say wealth, I don't think we've got any real wealth, but we've got some rich men, but not real wealth, the top of what I see as wealth. And so when they do have some financial independence and so on, you know, it's like open season. So it is incredibly hard, I think, for us as a community, because we have other issues, and we have also the fallout of slavery, which is the post-traumatic slavery syndrome, which affects us, and it affects us seriously. And we have, you know, mental health issues, because when you're not in a place where you feel welcomed or at home or comfortable, you know, you have displacement issues. And these are real things that face us every day. So if, for example, in a black relationship, a woman decides, that's it, I've had enough, I want to castrate, I want to go home, and he says, no, I like my football, you know, I want to stay here, then, you know, you've got a pull in two different directions. Because you're not working, you know, in harmony together. You don't have that ability. So, and sometimes you choose the wrong partners too. you know, because it's better to have a man than not have a man. And sometimes that's the thinking behind it. But what I would say is that I think another thing that affects us disproportionately is the pressures of life, just the general pressures of life.
Yeah.
And also, I'll say drugs, because that affects our communities, especially badly. Because, you know, black men are 9 times out of 10 more likely to be stopped by police, even though actually 9 times out of 10 the other societies actually have more customs in them than black community.
Yes.
So it's actually disproportionate in terms of the amount of times you know, black people are stopped in comparison to other communities, when actually other communities have been found as the fact that they have far more drugs than our community does. But they're still going to be, you know, stopped disproportionately by the police and targeted by the police. Therefore, if they are caught with, you know, even a small quantity of marijuana or something, they're more likely to actually be charged than their counterparts. Then, you know, you have that situation as well. I mean, there's a lot of things.
So all these things,
us, you know, and also chauvinism. I got to say, you know, there is a certain amount of chauvinism. That some of it has also been inherited from slavery. You know, so we have to look at all of those factors, and also the woman's role and the woman standing her ground and in parenting, and, you know, looking at the role of the man, because the man must be the king man, the powerful man, but he doesn't need to be controlling and overwrought, and the woman must also be relaxed and, you know, not paranoid. And, you know, there are so many things. And also, I mean, you know, we can't not look at, you know, people that are unfaithful as well. So this affects relationships as well. Do you stay or do you go? I mean, you know, to take it slightly off of a different tangent, but Hillary Clinton is running for president in America now. And the Monica Lewinsky situation, you know, every time I see it, I think Monica Lewinsky, and I just can't help it.
You associate the two, yes.
Yeah. I mean, you know, do you stay or do you go? You know, it's like that kind of situation. So those are the issues that we face. And when you're in a society where, if you like, there are different levels of morality that are different in different cultures, because I was brought up differently, like to my colleagues and people that I was educated with. So, you know, what they were allowed to do, I wasn't allowed to do. And so it was completely different. The structure that I had with my family is that, I mean, I wasn't even allowed to have a boyfriend until I was a certain age.
Same here, yes. Oh, God.
You know, my friend was like on a 10th.
It's a big...
You know, an associate was on her, like, 10th boyfriend. I wasn't even allowed to have my first. I was like, okay. So it was just, you know, she was, I went to see her one day, and she was able to swear at her mother. I wasn't, you know. But these cultural differences also have impacts on our relationship as well, and general, you know, misunderstandings. So I think there's a lot of issues, with regards to relationships. But in terms of keeping it alive, it's about love and respect. Without respect, you don't have a relationship.
Indeed. So do you feel that this book is very poignant for our time? Because when I was growing up, there wasn't really any books on love, especially, well, there's lots of books on love, but not specifically black relationships, and coming from, you know, men talking about it and women talking about it.
No, I don't remember seeing any.
No.
I remember one book, which is Men Come From Venus or something. Or
oh, yes.
And, you know, another book called The Rules. And then it was only when, I think it was Ivana Van Sant. Yeah, that was the first sort of relationship books I read, and a few that I saw from Oprah Winfrey. you know?
Yes, yeah.
Because years and years and years ago, I was an avid follower of Oprah Winfrey. I think many women were. And that's where I got my relationship advice from Oprah. And she's only just getting married.
Is she getting married?
And so did I say that on air?
Really?
My mouth.
So hold on. Breaking news: Oprah is getting married.
So I hear.
Really?
I hear from an American colleague of mine. I'm not sure, how true it is, but someone that knows her has told me that.
Could be true. Interesting. So you feel that this book for young people, do you feel that a book such as this is useful for young people as well as the older people?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Relationships are starting younger and younger these days.
They really are.
And that's a little bit of a frightening prospect, but I think that goes hand in hand with the way in which it's dealt with within the education system, to be fair. And now it's legal for little boys to wear dresses to school, and things have changed.
Well, I've heard about that, and are they really wearing them to school?
I don't know.
No, I don't know, because I've got grandchildren. I haven't got a little one going, but I've not heard that they've seen that's going on in their school as yet. But it's possible, is what you're saying. It is a possibility.
Exactly. I'm sure it is happening in some places, which is why they made it look. If it wasn't happening, they wouldn't need to. So I think a lot's changed. So I think, it will definitely appeal to young people, and I think it's important that we do direct it at young people and at schools and at, colleges and universities in particular, because the fact is that, we used to years ago, we had it within our families, where our families were so tightly knit that your families would keep your relationships together. So if you had a problem, there was like an aunt-in-law, an uncle, or someone you would sit down with, and he would do the same, and then, they'd sit the two of you together, and it would be like a counselling service in your house. They'd come round, and you'd have to cook dinner, and you and him would sit down, and they'd say, so what's the problem? And, they'd sort it out, and you'd be able to talk about it. But it seems as though there's a disassociation from family and family values, and families have broken down, and even in my family it was very strange, because I think when people have relationships outside of their culture as well, it has it brings in a different paradigm.
Yes.
Into the family, and so our family, I think, has become like very disenfranchised. As a result, it's very strange, very, very strange. But so I think it's really, really important to also address those issues, and to make sure that you have those people set in stone, within your relationship. And I think it's also guidance about not jumping into a relationship, keeping your cookies in the jar.
Yes, and it's funny, you were talking about in your family, and I know even for my family, and I don't know if a lot of people are going through that right now, young people, but it seems as though now young people are having relationships much younger. Do you feel that it should go back to how it or how it is maybe in more religious homes, where young people are expected to wait and have their relationships much later?
Well, I go back to the old ancient African principle.
Sounds good to me.
Religion, and the ancient African principle, was that you had to wait before you had any kind of sexual interaction or relationship interaction was after your initiation. So you knew what it was to be a man. You knew what it was to be a woman. You knew what was, required of you.
Yes.
And sometimes just speaking to Benny is like so interesting, because his obviously culture and custom are coming back 50,000 years that are still going on now. So it's like talking to someone from 50,000 years ago, but speaking to them now, and it's just mind blowing. So when you ask him about like homosexuality, you ask him about any of these issues is like, oh, not in our village. You know, we didn't have this. We didn't know anything about homosexuality when we came to England. I was like, okay then. You know, and he talks about the importance of family, and it wasn't, you know, this whole, you know, polygamy or anything. It's still like, you know, you've got your wife, and anytime you marry, if your wife dies, if your, you know, wife gets sick or something like that, you know, and passes away, then, you know, that's when you remarry. But other than that, you stay with your wife. So I was say you don't have 12 wives. I mean, no. You know, and this is before religion, so. And I asked, you know, how young do you have children? And it's the same thing, you know. They have to be at a certain age before they can get into a relationship. And that wasn't even 18, I think it was like 2021.
Yeah, so I mean, I, you know, don't want to be saying, you know, putting the young down. I think the young has got so much today. I always say, I'm glad I'm not young in this generation. It's really, really tough, I think. What do you think?
Well, I look at it from two perspectives. You look at what you want to do. I'll give you an example. My daughter is 25 now, and so I don't know if you still call that young, actually. But, and I've got a 13-year-old as well. And I think it, you know, depends on your circumstances. So, for example, she's going to do her PhD in genetics at UCL. And she has a company called Culture, which is all about, you know.
Sorry, what's the name of her company?
Culture, C-U-R-L.
Culture.
Yes,
Wonderful.
C-U-R-L-C-U-R-E, like culture, but curl, because it's all about embracing your natural beauty.
Oh, right, okay. Yes, I spoke to somebody who's doing an event this Saturday on that very thing. Yeah, on natural hair. Yeah.
Yeah, she's done really well. She was like on BBC the other day, and she's been nominated for awards and won a couple, I think. And she's got like, you know, 31,000 followers, and she's doing incredibly well. So, and she's a young person, and she's in a long-term stable relationship. So,
fabulous.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, but guidance as well, because obviously I think it's very, very important. And with my son, I push certain values home, but it could be, you know, maybe because I'm stable, so it could be that, so you have that influence. But I think, you know, for young people, I think they're remarkable. I mean, you just have to look at, you know, how many people flooded the streets last weekend.
I know.
You know,
really
to see that they are the revolutionists of our generation, and I'm so glad. I was so happy to see them taking a stand, regardless of, you know, what the motivation was. I was just glad to see that they felt the need to take action. Yes. So yeah, I mean, I have got so much hope for the future generations that's coming, because I think they're going to change the world for the better. Yeah,
and I feel it's almost as though I was asking someone the other day, do they feel that, you know, we're handing them a world that, you know, they really have to do a lot of work? Have we really done well by them? Have we really sort of done enough, you know, to hand them over something, a good legacy, or have we let them down?
Well, to a certain degree, we've handed them poison chalice, because we need to do more reparations. And this is the importance of reparations. It's the future generations. This is what, you know, I think some people get lost in the wash, if you like. Is that people forget that it is about the future generation. That's right. It is about, you know, their legacy, because this is their legacy, and they have a right to it, the same way as slave owners, you know, who were paid so much money. Their children's children are still benefiting. Yes. As should our children, you know, have that benefit. They should have an alternative, so they can go back to Ghana, Gambia. You know, Gambia's lovely, actually. Gambia.
Everyone says that, yeah.
Yeah, and or Nigeria, you know, or Burkina Faso, and, you know, build a house and have a home that they can go to, an alternative. They should have that.
For sure.
They should have that. They should have the option to go and learn another language that is coming from where they come from, rather than France and having to learn French and Spanish and, these languages which are, if you like, an alien language compared to where we come from. And unless you're going to a colonized area which speaks this language, and you're not going to know the language, you're not going to know Twi or, Mandinka or any other language, or lost. And so it's important that, we look at it from that context. And so we've got to show them about their history, like Dr. Henrik Clark, Dr. Ben Yosef. We've got so many scholars, Dr. Claude, and so many female scholars as well, out there that are doing remarkable work, like, Dr. Joy DeGroy, and so that they can learn from. But it's for us to pass that information down to them, show them what, say, Country Diop found, show them what Dick Gregory showed them. We have, wonderful people like the Honourable Messiah, Margaret Messiah Garvey. So we've got to show them and share this information with them in order to give them, the foundation that they need. We need to teach them about what the Black Panthers actually achieved. Not just their demise, but their growth and their strategy and what happened, and the fact that they still exist to this day. People don't think they do, but they actually do. So, and what they stood for, because just like Muhammad Ali, although he's passed now, he gave us a lot of self-belief, self-love and self-pride.
Very much so.
So I think if we can pass that on, then there's hope. That's what we need to pass on, rather than, a legacy of hopelessness. We need to pass on a legacy of hopefulness. And it's in fact better than that, just action. Don't just pass on a legacy of action, because it's our actions that will improve the future for them and be impactful. And us saying, no to what they've said about reparations and, the cheat, go and build a prison and all this rubbish, that was their response. We've got to literally say this is enough. Enough is enough. We've had enough insults. We're grown, we're trained, we're educated. We don't have to jump through any hoops. We just need to go through the correct procedures and obtain the justice that we rightfully deserve. And we need to pass it on to the next generation so they can continue the fight and pass the baton on. So I think, I have a lot of hope for this generation, and I do feel that a lot of things will change. Yes, the world is polluted. Yes, there are industrial complexes. Yes, there's various things in place to make it stop us, but we don't have to read the newspaper or watch the news to get their news. We can create our own media platforms now, in the same way that you have while I'm speaking to you today. So, you're part of the solution. What you're doing is amazing. So if more people were like you do what you're doing, there is definitely, a good chance of us winning this struggle that we have in order to get our justices corrected and the mistakes addressed that have happened, because they are intentional. In the track that I wrote, I said that, for example, the genocide in West Papua is a crime by design. And the reason why I say that is because genocide is by design, and people need to wake up and realise it's not just an incidental situation. These wars aren't incidental situations.
They are planned and organised, and there's a vision for them. And a lot of these things that happen, they're like 200, 300, 400, 500 years plans. And that's another thing. Do you feel as well we should in what we're doing, plan way ahead, so for 2, 3, 4 generations ahead?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I am. I've already got plans well ahead.
That's amazing.
Put them in place and pass them on.
That's amazing.
I say everybody write a legacy book.
Yes. Do you, I don't know if you remember Sister Sandra Hurst.
Yes.
Who she was starting. I went to one of her 100-year plans, and definitely that's the way to go. We should, be thinking about not just our generation that we, children and grandchildren, but way, way, way beyond, because the rulers of this world, that's what they've done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say to everybody, go and buy land in Africa.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
That's the first thing first.
Go and buy some land.
If you look at the world, the places that are going to survive are the places that keep close to nature.
Yeah.
Yeah? That is the way forward. You can always grow your food, you can always survive.
Yeah.
If your water's pure, you can always drink it.
Indeed.
So, what more do you need?
You just need to get oneself together, make a plan, and go for it. Take action.
Exactly.
Take action.
Exactly.
The land where things, you just drop a seed and it grows.
Yeah, exactly. You wake up and you've got a little cashew tree going, you've got a mango tree going, and the thing is that, like I said, the life you lead has got to be the life you love.
Yeah.
And a lot of us live in lives that we don't love.
No.
Believe.
Yeah.
So this is where we, the increased cognitive dissonance. Increased dissatisfaction. Increased where people get depressed. Increased, all these other issues. We've got high levels of suicides in our community at the moment.
Which was unheard of years ago. Unheard of. Yeah,
but it's on the increase. And the thing is that, we have to address this. And also, even within our communities, this gang issue that we have. And that is also from, stems from lack of self-love. The change in our identity to wearing, things which, like creams that change our skin complexion and so on.
Bleaching, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hydroquinone, killing ourselves.
Yes.
So
people are actually dying from bleaching as what they've got evidence
cancer.
now. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, people are. I mean, literally, they really are. Because there's someone that we know who was a carer.
Right.
And she's very ill at the moment. So, and she's only very young. But she went from blue black to very, a very different shade. And her skin became like paper.
Oh my God.
And started to get these lesions, these terrible, terrible lesions on her skin that constantly weep. So it was after doing an investigation, that's when they said she had melanoma. I was like, how did she get melanoma? But anyway, but these are the things that, that are happening within our community, and it's lack of self-love, not loving your beautiful blue black,
yes, yeah.
beige black, brown black,
the whole
black
spectrum.
Yeah.
Again, do you feel that it's a subliminal message being put out there, and people are feeling, with the gangs and the bleaching and the whole spectrum of things where we're imploding on ourselves? Do you feel that that's coming from?
Well, it's made to make us feel like that, but no, that's not the truth. And we're not at all. It's just a myth, and it's propagated by media. Because yes, some people do, but it's the minority, not the majority.
Yeah, of course.
And yes, there are incidents of violence, but they happen in every single community, and none so more than the actual European community, which far even though they're not always charged, but the actual offences, number of offences, is far more in their community than it is in ours. So, I think it's about doing your research to find out what the actual reality is, but it's also media propagating, not relationships which aren't, if you like, made by two black parents, with black children. So once the media fail to show that, and that's where people get a lot of their information from, and they don't see two black parents on the TV, they don't see a black family on the TV, and they're always showing either a single woman or a single man, or if they are, they're not with partners that look like them. So this is also a situation that's breaking down, so people don't feel worthy. and the image of beauty that's portrayed on television is not used. So that or in magazines or anywhere else, and it's to create an inferiority complex. But the truth of the matter is that we're not rhesus negative. Yeah, I mean, sorry, we're not rhesus positive. I'm rhesus negative actually, but majority of us are rhesus negative, and that is a brilliant thing. And we have melanin, and melanin is the most beautiful conductor of energy that ever existed on the face of the planet. So don't bleach it out. Love the skin you're in, and your vibration and how you more creative, more intelligent, and how you work within this universe. It is very much connected with that. I'm not disparaging anybody else. I'm just saying to us that Dr. Layla Africa has done so much research into this, so I'm just quoting
what he said,
the research that has been done, and especially the I think it's called The Magic of Melanin. Brilliant piece of work. And so that piece of work has made all these things clear and tells you what to eat, what to do, in order to look after your melanin. And I don't think we've even, taken a step back. I need to look after my melanin. But these are things that we need to actively really look at and realise. You have a superconductor, and as you charge it, it might not work. Your melanocytes might drop, or you're not going to get enough sleep with some tryptophan or whatever. But we need to, embrace ourselves and love ourselves. Because we do live in a society which is racist, and there's no doubt about it. It's been proven. We do live in a society where there exists white supremacy. It's proven. We can't get around that. But I don't think that there should, because there is that system, that it means that there is any inferiority. Yeah, I think it was just a system that was set up, it's a psychological play, and we shouldn't buy into it. What we need to do is to realise that, we originate from beautiful ancestors and beautiful stock, and of people who existed for millennia, and who were the originators of mathematics, science, medicine, astronomy, and this is for young people too. I want them to realise. So the 400 years, 500 actually, if you really look back, 500 years, including up to date, of genocide and slavery that we're still undergoing. That's why, like you said, just to bring this to a full circle, that you were seeing with the Lives Massacre and or killing in America. It's a lynching. It's a public lynching, and it's a psyop. It's a psychological operation. So you have to be mindful as well. However, the future for us is so bright. It's just simply amazing. And there is no system in place to stop us from achieving what we want to achieve and to do what we want to do, because we have overcome the worst oppression any other race on the planet has overcome. We had over 3,000 revolts and we overcame. The thing now is that we've still got chains in our minds. So that's what we have to start on doing, chink by chink. And that's going to take time. That's why we need reparations, because we need the rehabilitation to look at the internal repair.
Yes. You and join forces, unity is the key, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally pro, people working together. Everyone's got different perspectives on things. So not everyone's going to agree, but once you agree on the goal, that's enough. Exactly.
One mind towards the goal, and everyone comes and contribute in their own unique, special way. Wow. Yeah, Juliet. Yeah, seriously, you've given so much wealth of knowledge, and I've got to get you back on again. But what I'd like you to do, just give your details again for people to contact you, and or just to learn more about what you're doing. because you're doing
Yeah,
so much
sure.
fashion. You know, I've just been I'm sitting here taking notes, literally. I've just, you know, and you've just given so many gems. I really enjoyed your input.
Oh, thank you. It's been wonderful to be here with you.
It's been wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, basically what I was saying is that I'd also like to offer you an invite as well to the Working Action Group launch. We're having a launch in association with Find Your Voice, which is
Yes.
Dougie.
Of course, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the 27th of August. And our launch is focused around building a community, because that's what we're about. And that will be at the usual location, which is the Learning Centre, Parkview Academy in West Green Road. And that's on the 27th. There's a free buffet soiree thing at 3:30, and then the launch kind of kicks off at 4 o'clock. And it's going to be amazing. Sister Esther Sanford will be there, Benny Wenzer will be there. Brendan, the people's lawyer, you know, brilliant.
Wonderful.
He will be there. Leo Mohammed will be there. There are so many other guests as well, and special appearances. We've got a great headmistress who's been a headmistress for over like 20 years. Like, beautiful headmistress called Marjorie, who's been talking about education and how it can benefit our young people, and also parents. And, you know, meandering the system and understanding it, and how we can, you know, get benefits from that. We have like a cultural exchange repatriation expert called Michael Bassoon. So Dougie's going to be talking about community as well. We've got 2 financial advisors, Gary Barton and Daniel Bryant. And we've also got the lovely singer who's singing the track, Ida Menelik, also known as Sean Cassell. He'll be speaking, and we have a motivational speaker called Yvonne Omni who's coming, and we have a surprise giveaway from Levi Root. So,
wow.
Yeah, so it should be a
Sounds wonderful. Wow.
A great evening, and I think a lot to be learned. Is it really? It's about what we're about, really, and Working Action Group is about, you know, bringing the community together and working together. And we've been a private members club, and we've never been open to the public.
Wow.
So it is us opening to the public, because we realised a lot of people kept asking to join, and so we thought, okay, what we'll do is we'll open out our memberships. We've got a lot of benefits which would really, you know, support the community. We have our own business directory, which is very comprehensive and up to date, with lots and lots of black businesses in it. We have so much as a part of our service. I could talk to you all night about it. I don't want to.
So the Working Action Group.
There'll be a cultural market there as well, with stalls and yeah.
Is there a website? Is there a website for the Working Action Group?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, we have one. It's called www.workingactiongroup.com.
Good. That's nice of them. Yeah. Okay.
So it's workingactiongroup.com. And for the homeless, we have Action for the Homeless. Action for the Homeless. We're becoming a registered charity in the near future. We're turning part of our enterprise into a social enterprise. We just was awarded some funding from Lloyd to do that. So we're turning some of our operation into a social enterprise, and then we're going to register Action for the Homeless as a charity. So we're going to kind of split a little bit of what we're doing, not, you know, much about what we're doing. So the org is based around the Action for the Homeless project that we do.
Fabulous.
And also for the unconscious and conscious Fires program that we do, and that's based on obviously around equality and diversity. And just to say, because I know a lot of people say, oh, that word equality, we're not equalising with anybody, I've heard it all before. It's not that. The equality that we're talking about is about the inequality that we faced when black people first came here. In fact, the equality that we still face whilst we're here. And it's about eradicating it. It's not looking at to say that we're not equal to anybody. It's about the fact that we weren't treated as equals, and in some instances we still aren't. And like I said, when you saw the choice of people that were going into the cabinet the other day. How many black faces of African descent did you see?
Well, I have to say I don't have a TV, so I didn't see any of it. But I can imagine there wasn't that much to choose from. Yeah.
I watch YouTube.
Yeah, I'm a YouTube person. I don't watch TV.
I don't, but I'm just saying that I watch YouTube.
But I didn't even go on there to see that. So I haven't even seen that yet on there. But I you just know it's always the same, isn't it? It's always the same. But yeah. we need. Do you feel before we close? Do you feel that we need to integrate more into things like into politics and the different areas that govern our life, or do you feel what's your thoughts on that? Because when I've interviewed people, some people feel we should be integrating into politics and law and the different areas, and then some people feel we should stand apart from.
Well, I don't like the word integrate.
Yeah, it's probably
I don't like the word assimilate either.
It's not, fair. Yeah, for want of a better word.
We need to be strategic in our approaches.
Mm-hmm.
And there's ways in which you can get involved in politics which works for the benefit of your people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there are ways in which you can get involved in all things for the betterment of your people.
Yeah.
We have to be strategic about it. The same way as, like I said, boycott BP. Don't drive there. Don't get petrol there. Don't buy from any of their forecourt services. If everybody was to adopt that attitude, then you could bring a company to its knees.
And again, that's another thing. I've spoken since the shootings. I've spoken to different people, interviewed different people. Some people are saying yes, we should boycott. It will make all the difference. If people, have to start taking, more interest in what's going on. Some people say it's going to be a drop in the ocean. They won't even notice that we've gone.
To be fair, if it was a drop in the ocean, they would never have taken immigrants over here in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, and still continue. So obviously there's a usage.
There's something going. There's some, yeah.
And it can't be a drop in the ocean because in London alone, I think yearly our community generates 4.6 billion. So it's not a drop in the ocean. That's far from being a drop in the ocean. And I think people that think that it would be a good idea to just to look at go on to the National Office of Statistics website and have a look at the facts and figures, because that's when you see the impact. We're just talking, but talking without having any information to support it is loose talk.
Well, yeah, I actually saw not an argument, it was a sort of people texting on the WhatsApp and in a group, and there were people were saying yes, I'm not going to mention the supermarket, but someone was,
I understand,
and somebody, then there was one person saying no, don't think it's a waste of time, blah blah blah, and the other person was no, we, as you said, we are one of the biggest consumers, and so anything that you were to boycott, it will definitely be noticed. So it's just how different people look at it, and they're all vying for the same thing. They're all wanting the same, achieve the same thing. But they were saying it's about finding places to shop that belong to people of your grouping, because every other group does that, and the money bounces back 18 times in some communities, and it doesn't even bounce at all in our community. It's not about hating any other group, but it's about loving self and pouring into your community. So they more or less were saying the same thing, but in a different way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't hate anyone. I never have. I haven't got time for that.
It's too much. Too much effort. The effort to use for hate. You can use it to love yourself and the people who look like you, and everybody else as well. But it's not about. But one of the things that a lot of people complain about is Black Lives Matters. That people are saying this is, but other groups are saying this is reversed racism, but it doesn't make sense. It's like as soon as we start aligning ourselves with ourselves and showing love, other people see it as racism. What's going on?
I don't know how that could be racist, but I see in this country anyway, a very mixed crowd.
Yeah, but
a very mixed crowd. So I think like
exactly,
it's contra pro. I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. You look at the strategy that Edgar Hoover used. Yeah. If you look at what's going on, you'll see exactly the same strategy being played out right now. Yeah. And I say, when anyone says to me about it, I say focus on reparations.
Yeah.
Everybody just get behind reparations. That is the key.
Yeah.
See? Yeah. That is the key. That is the strategy. That is the answer. If everybody that was on that street now comes to the reparations march on the 1st of August at Windrush Square at 10 a.m. on the 1st of August, 10 a.m. Windrush Square, and they come there and they even join the ancestors block, because I'm coordinating that, and we will be wearing shackles and chains. And yes, I have come up against some criticism for doing it, but we are wearing shackles and chains on the street.
What have people said to you, Juliet, about that?
Well,
if you can say it on the air.
I've had criticism. I've heard it on the radio. I've had it via WhatsApp, text, email. I've had various statements, but the majority of them have all been along the same
They understand where. Yeah.
We weren't slaves. We were kings and queens. We shouldn't be, dressing like this. They'll be laughing at us and this and that. And what you're doing is basically ensuring that people only saw us as slaves. So I said, well, if you knew what reparations was about, you'd see why we were any shackles and chains. Welcome to my world. Welcome to the real world.
And you know what? I think it's so important for young people, because a lot of young people, they don't know about that aspect. They don't know what, so it's, and like you mentioned, some of the artists that were taking part were crying because it felt so real to them, and that's almost like a cathartic thing, it sounds like to me.
Yeah, it is very emotional, and so people have mixed feelings about it, because people, it's like pain, you don't want to remember it. So when someone puts stark lines in your face, you get, that cognitive dissonance, kind of feeling of discomfort. And so it's that discomfort, that they're unable to sit comfortably with. But I said, look, let me put it this way, I put it in a very simple terms. Yeah, I might be a Christian and I might be wearing a cross. But when you see the cross, you associate it and see like a dead man hanging on it.
Oh gosh,
yeah. So if that's being the case and you don't, then when you look at the change, look at it as being symbolic of a struggle. Look at it as being symbolic of actually, look what they've achieved. They went through can you imagine when the first people were taken out of Africa, what they must have been thinking? They would never, ever, ever be free.
Yeah.
But we are here sitting today on a radio show.
Yeah, talking
about it, and not in the same circumstances that we were in then.
No. Right
here in the UK. Not to say that it's not happening in West Africa, because it is. And, I mean, they can kidnap like 2,200 children and, take them to Jakarta and various other places away from their parents, and the world stays silent. But 200 children are taken in Nigeria and the whole world's up in arms. So, like I said, where money flows,
That's where the attention goes.
Yeah, I think that the criticism goes back to the way in which people have looked at it. Because when you look at European production companies that have created films about slavery, whether it be Amistad or 12 Years a Slave, I haven't seen any boycotts of those films. No. Or anyone up in arms. And these are things where other people are actually exploiting and making money out of films about us.
Yes, yeah.
And this is where we're embracing it ourselves and saying, look, you know, we are commemorating our rebellions. We are commemorating our ancestors that didn't make it, you know, through to the Middle Passage. We're commemorating our ancestors that died during the Middle Passage, and we're commemorating our ancestors that made it across the Middle Passage who died in chains. And do you know how many of us died in chains? So, you know, no one complains about when anyone's saying, oh, this day of memorial or day of remembrance, or, you know, this be one day or what have you, or, you know, day of remembrance for, you know, victims of various other atrocities. But when it comes to us, we're feeling uncomfortable about commemorating ours. And, you know, to be fair, a reality check is that, you know, they're saying, oh, we should look at kings and queens. Well, when I went to Africa, I didn't see everybody walking around in, you know, in crowns and gowns. You know,
Indeed.
reality check for me, you know, when I got there, well, everyone's kings and queens, don't look like it, you know. Yeah, someone had very nice houses, but I don't think it was the king or the queen. But,
Yeah,
you know, this is my point. So I'm just saying, you know, that I just think that for us as a people, generally speaking, we need to look at, you know, how we celebrate our rich past, and that includes all elements of it. You're not going to just take out slavery because, oh, well, that was an uncomfortable time, so I'm not really going to think about it. You know, we can't do that. We can't afford to do that. And to be honest with you, we owe it to our ancestors not to do that.
Yeah, it's about, you know, if you've got, you know, if it's someone in your time who's had something terrible happen to them, you would remember it, you know, and you wouldn't just be, oh, well, that happened to Auntie Sally, you know, we don't need to think about that anymore. So you're absolutely right. We do need to acknowledge what they've been through, and the fact that we're here today because of the fact that they were able to go through that terrible ordeal and survive it.
I mean, I think we do them a great disservice. Our ancestors. Everybody commemorates their ancestors. They got plaques. They got this. They've got that. You know, I honestly think that we've done them a great disservice, and you know, we need to atone for that, because we're living the benefits that we're living as a result, a direct result of, you know, their death, their sacrifice, their terrorism that they had to experience for hundreds of years, the genocide they had to experience for hundreds of years, the wickedness beyond thought, you know, and child abuse, child molestation, rape, murdering, splitting people, you know, down the middle with two horses.
Oh, well, anytime I think about that, just, I mean, come on. I mean, my God, it's just, what sort of mind does something like that? It's too much, isn't it, to just even,
You know, I don't know. When I read the book Jacobins, I don't know if you ever read about what Jacobins was. I didn't even know.
No,
and then when I realised what the gang was, when they put black babies into a barrel of water and dipped them down, and the first baby that came up, they blew the child's head off, and the rest of the babies drowned. And then, you know, you used to use our babies as alligator bait, and, you know, and put our men to fight to the death. They used to rape our women and use us as, you know, mating tools, you know, cut us open and let our babies hang out, and then cut our entrails out and cut them off, and then used to give them to, you know, our other enslaved brothers and sisters to eat, telling them that it was chitlins.
No
I mean,
way.
Come on.
No, I wasn't aware of that. Seriously, I have, you know, read and seen various things, but it just gets worse, doesn't it? As the deeper you go into it, it just gets worse.
I actually think the rabbit hole goes a lot deeper.
I was about to say, imagine what we don't know that happened. Imagine, because if you have a people that is completely helpless, you know, anything goes, isn't it? If with a mind gone mad.
I know, and the thing is, people think, oh, they didn't fight back. Of course they fought back. There were like 3,000 rebellions, and people did fight back, and they didn't just, accept it. And then there's the old story about complicity within it, and all this and all that, and and all of the stories you hear. And the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter how you look at it. When you look at what happened in West Papua, that one day he was there, the next day, there were these people who turned up with arms ready to kill you, and they're so far out of your reality, you don't even know what's going on. And that's what happened to us, peace-living normal people. Same as in West Papua. So you can't victimize the victim. It's just, you've got to look at wicked and heinous crimes for what they are. And they're crimes. They're crimes against humanity.
Exactly.
They are crimes against humanity. And, the disgusting and despicable attitude that this government and other European governments have towards reparations just shows the deep-seated racism, discrimination and total hatred for us. Because that's the only way I can describe it, because there's no way you can do that damage to a person and to people over time. And then when we get to a time where the descendants are now saying, look at this horrible thing that you've done to my descendants, and it's now affected me, and I'm in a place where I ain't even supposed to be, and I want to go home, and I don't want to be here anymore, and I don't know why you're doing this to us. And now we're here, you're still doing it to us, and we don't want it no more. And then you just turn around and you're just very flippant and arrogant. Well, you're not going to get reparations, it's a total slap in the face, and it's an absolute disgrace, and it shows that there is no democracy. It shows that there is no equality so far as the real definition of it is concerned, and there certainly is total white hatred towards people of colour, especially black people of African descent, within the diaspora especially. Because we are a reminder of their atrocities.
Wow.
People might say my words are harsh, but it's true. Because, if you knock down a dog, you even feel sorry for the dog. Yeah, they got the back-to-see dogs home. They go and pay £3,500 to go and sit down and eat a meal. At the end of the day, we're demanding reparations, and not even a discussion about it has been held at any high level. We shouldn't have to even go through any parliamentary procedure, because they didn't go for a parliamentary procedure when they enslaved us. They didn't go for a parliamentary... Did we have passports when we arrived in Jamaica?
I'm not aware of that, no.
No, we didn't. We didn't have passports. We were given names which didn't even belong to us. We were branded, with hot iron rods whilst we were alive. We were forced into religions which didn't belong to us, and unless we accepted them, we would be killed. We were told that we couldn't speak our mother tongue. Everything was robbed from us. And now you want to turn around and tell me that you're not prepared to you're not prepared to repair that harm? That's the same arrogance that you went there and you enslaved us with. But we're not enslaved in the same way anymore.
Wow.
The revolution is now.
And people are ready. They can't take it anymore.
Well, I don't think that people should have to, because I see, I was driving through London the other day, and I was just looking, at my people, and looking at their faces, and their heads are down. Rise up, my mighty people. I'm thinking, why are all your heads down? Why are you all looking at the ground? What is going, on with us? There's something going wrong, and we have to have the right to raise our heads, to stand up on the occasion and honour ourselves, honour our ancestors, and be upright with it, because they were upright while they were fighting. They were upright while they were dying. But they died for something. I didn't come here for nothing. I'm here for a purpose. And we've got to realise that we're here for a purpose, and that is to stop it from happening to future generations, to change things so it can't happen again. And unless we do our job, which is what we came here to do, yeah, there will only be repetition.
Indeed. Someone's texting, great show.
Oh, thanks.
Wow. Sister Juliet, you have spoken and you've said so many things and you've shared things with us that a lot of us have not been aware of. And I thank you and appreciate you for that. Have you got any last words? Words that can let people know that there's a brighter future awaiting them if they, you know, if they are open to being their true selves. What have you got? Your parting words for us.
My final words are that you are amazing.
Yes.
You are invincible. And you make everything possible, and you can recreate your own reality.
That's a serious message. And Juliet, you must, it'd be a pleasure to speak to you again. I hope you will come back.
Oh, thank you very much. I really did enjoy speaking with you today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh yeah, it's you know, so many things came up because we literally went freestyle on this. I had no questions. We just kind of went with the flow, and God, did the spirit come through in the conversation.
I hope you get a chance to play the track, run the track, the Reparations anthem when you can.
Well, yeah, what I'm going to do, can I access it?
Yeah,
can
so I emailed it to you about.
Oh, right, fabulous. So what I'm going to do, I will add it in. I can't because I haven't got access to it here. But what I'll do, I will be playing it and on my playlist, if that's okay with you.
Oh, I'm more than happy for that. Any airplay, every airplay.
Yeah, we'll be playing
Everybody go to the SoundCloud and look for Reparations Anthem by Ida Manilik and have a listen to the track, share it, and let us know. It's on SoundCloud now. I know we've had about 400 and something people listen to it since we uploaded it.
Fabulous.
So, yeah, and they can go onto the Working Action Group Facebook page if they want to, you know, it's the Working Action Group page, if they want to keep updated with what's going on with Working Action Group as well, and to keep updated with what's going on with West Papua. I think I've got the Free West Papua page as well. They want to keep updated with what's going on with the reparations march. They can go to Stop the Maonga Movie.
Yes, I was about to say, I was about to try and attempt to say it, but yes. Oh wow, that's amazing. So thank you so much, Juliet.
Thank you, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
it's been a really lovely evening, and I really do appreciate having the opportunity to even, you know, have airtime. So I just want to say thanks to your lovely listeners and for also having you too. Sorry,
Juliet, what was that last bit?
I was saying, I just wanted to say thanks to your lovely listeners for also having me too today, and you know, thanks to you too.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you have a fantastic week ahead.
Oh, I've got a busy week ahead.
Oh, me too. But we'll definitely be keeping in touch, and we'll definitely have you back on. And I'm so honoured that you came on and, you know, shared so much with us, so much wisdom.
Oh, thank you. It was my pleasure.
Okay.
Or, you know, I'm so honoured just to be here, and very humbling experience. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Juliet.
Yeah. Okay. Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, same to you.
Saying goodbye in West Papua.
Wah, wah.
500 years living in the diaspora. More than 500 years. 500 years we sit down by the rivers of Bangkok.
My people,
500 years under pressure. With no solution. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. 500 years of slavery. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Of which all are we is the legacy. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Pretend you don't know me, act as if you don't see. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. This case ain't closed, tell me how do you plead? Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Guilty of crimes against humanity. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Lost my heritage, lost my sanity. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. The government need to apologize to it. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Look like you wanna get away scot-free. Repatriation, no. Reparation, when I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. West Papa genocide is a crime by design. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Stop the amalgamism, this petition you must sign. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Help me to free me, my oppressor refuse to see me. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Nothing to change, you still wanna deceive me. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. It wasn't my fault, so why you wanna blame? Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Deny your history and try to share. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. It's high time you pay me so I can repair. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Go to the mint and print and stop being a skin. Repatriation, no. Reparation, when I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. When I say repatriation, you say no. Repatriation, no. Reparation, no. Yes, my people. Remember the West Indies. Remember Shark Island. Remember Brazil, Africa, USA. Remember Australia, West Papua and Flint. Remember all the fallen and the innocent souls and spirits of our ancestors. All the sheroes and heroes. Benny Wender, Mark Smiley, Stephen Lawrence Gray, Trevon, Sarah Reid, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, Harriet Tubman, John Oscar. Slave masters got paid out and we got left out. Big up to our organization, and remember, every August 1st, African Emancipation Day, Reparations March, London. African Emancipation Day, Reparation March, London, every August. Repatriation, no!